Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from around the world. It is our privilege to have all of you guys in the ring with us this evening. We know some of you guys join us on Twitter, which is the belly of social media. Some of you guys join us on YouTube, it's like the suburbs, and then you got the ghetto folks, those guys on Facebook rather, or Meta, the blue app. Great to see each and every one of you guys. And as you coming on, we always invite you guys to share the live stream. And we want to see those emojis as well, guys. Don't wait for anything. Share the live stream. We got quite a packed program for you guys this evening. So no time to waste. We are ready to get to the fight card, guys. And as you come into the Coliseum, as you come into the ring, again, we want you guys to share that live stream. Lots of information to send your way, and quite a few guests joining us this evening. Coming up, Dr. Richard Van Westcharles, the candidate for lead of the PNCR, and his team, Vanessa Kissoon, or rather an ensemble of his team, Vanessa Kissoon, and also Sharma Solomon is going to be joining us a little later on in the program. And in addition to that, we're going to be joined by Mr. Rickford Burke, the one and only Odessa Primus, and the one and only Natasha Singh-Lewis. Great program ahead of us, guys. As you come into the Coliseum, as you come into the arena, guys, we invite you to share the live stream wherever you guys are joining us from around the world. Guys, let us know how you are receiving us on that end. Let us know if we are clear in terms of what you see. Let us know if we are clear in terms of what you're hearing. Lots of information to get through, guys. You're going to want to buckle up. You are going to want to sit down. Great to see all of the usual suspects joining in. Great to see Elizabeth Narine from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and the entire Narine clan seem to be online this evening, guys. Great to see each and every one of you, and I'm going to make sure to give you guys a shout out at the end of the program. Lots to discuss, so I want to get right to it this evening. No time to waste at all, guys. Let's get to the fight card. I'm so excited to get through the fight card this evening. A lot of people name calling. Y'all know the usual. These days, plenty people name calling. Nicola Bess, Elizabeth Narine, your name calling. Patricia Asana, Royston Melville, Leonard Zephyr, names are calling. Gwyneth Jones, Rita Cummins, Cheryl Ben, Dawn, Sharon Shepard. Great to see each and every one of you. Melissa Mentor, Donna Simon. I see, is it James Bunbury? Good to see you there, James. All you fantastic folks, including Royston Sampson. Your name calling. Folks, a lot of people name calling tonight. Things tight. We could easily dedicate our entire program to this theme. Things tight. And things are so tight in this country, folks. Sufferation. There's not suffering. Suffering is when you will survive. Sufferation. Oh, no coming back from that. Sufferation. Under the Jagabats, folks. Sufferation. And things are so bad. The Jagabats want their man in a GECOM. So Vishnu Persaud is the man who is earmarked by the PPP to be the chief elections officer. They want Vishnu in their bed because they know unless they rig this thing, they can't go back there. Everybody crying out in the health sector, in the agricultural sector, people crying out. In the security, the public security sector, people are crying out, folks. Things tight. And so they want their man Vishnu Bisram. And you watch and mark my words. We have said here in this program that Claudette Singh, who swing, always votes with the PPP. And so they have already signaled, the PPP commissioners that is, they have already signaled that they want Vishnu Persaud there, guaranteeing their victory. They want to ensure that he is guaranteeing their victory, and so they are going to ensure that Vishnu Persaud gets the nod, and Claudette Singh is going to back them with that. So we're watching, even though we know the outcome. It's a set piece, folks. They want their guy in there. 30 pieces of silver, Father, a lot of people getting their 30 pieces of silver. They're drawing down big. The 30 pieces of silver. And you know what our attention was drawn to recently? Ruel Johnson getting his 30 pieces of silver. We are reliably informed that the gentleman is now the technical officer under Charles Ramson, that installed minister at the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Culture. Take that for your fastness. Technical officer. Ladies and gentlemen, there. It is quite strange because when Ruel left Kaitro News left him recently, he posted this on his Facebook page. He said, let me be clear. I left Kaitro News voluntarily, as I've long informed the publisher I would eventually do, to finish the book I've been working on for several years. I've been indicating clearly what I've been doing for weeks now, including very clearly posting snippets of my research. This information has been in the public domain since last year. Yep. So it's either the book has finished or he's going there as a technical officer at the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture to do research. Either or. 30 pieces of silver. And we've identified on this very program, folks, right here on this program, other people under this installed administration who too have gotten their 30 pieces of silver. Whether that is Schumann from the Liberty and Justice Party. He is now Ministerial Advisor on Civil Aviation and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. Ralph Ramkaran, a New and United Guyana, he's advisor to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on border matters. And then you got Captain Jerry Guevara. He used to be private sector chairman. Suddenly he's now advisor on national security. How is that going? Dan Singh, he wanted to be chief elections officer also. Plus, he got a big license recently for a 5G company. Imagine just the other day, Dan was a counselor. And then you got Vanessa Kissoon, this other jagabat from a new and from rather the new movement. She get elections observer to the Bahamas. She on the board of directors for GWI, the board of directors for Atlantic Hotel, and she on the board for this oil and gas company that just started called Gaia Energy. Everybody getting the 30 pieces of silver. Folks, you know why? Things tight. So people taking what they can get. Karen Thorne, Diane Gravesandi, things tight. Robin Lorraine, Denise Booker, things tight. Angela McDonald, Diane McCauley, things tight. Things so tight now. The police doing mysterious things. This was drawn to our attention as well. Police seem to be shipping Laparkan crates and so forth. This was seen recently. The police delivering Laparkan boxes. Things tight in the country, folks. Things are tight. What else can we tell you guys? And people are doing some very strange things. So the police apparently, they're going to subcontract with Laparkan to deliver packages. Things tight. I told you all, the entire program could have that theme. Things tight. And to further demonstrate to you guys, Rondell Hamilton, Agatha Devant, things tight. Look what happening to the rice farmers. The rice farmers complaining to the government quite recently. The minister was there. Quite recently, the minister was in Region 2. And farmers from Anna Regina, Charity, and other places in Region 2 complained bitterly to the minister. He said they were telling him fertilizer price gone up close to $10,000 a bag now, and government is making no intervention. And of course, all these jagabats had were platitudes. Oh, they're meeting with stakeholders and they are discussing and they're framing all manner of shenanigans. You know what is really happening? They don't have the answer. They try to throw a whole bunch of money at the economy, and the economy are moving. The only thing left for them to throw at the economy is the blue pill. And even that won't stimulate this economy. So the farmers have been livid. Ladies and gentlemen, the farmers have been livid. You know who else have been livid? Oh, the Fisherfolk. Again, crying out to the government. They said the PPP, the installed PPP government, and ExxonMobil scaring away the fish. That is what the Fisherfolks just recently said. The PPP and ExxonMobil, Laverne Harry Charan, Chisung Henry, Anne Marie Selby, they are scaring away the fish. Volme Wilson, y'all is scaring away fish. Fisher like y'all, Nikki Innes, Roxanne Lindor, Marilyn Duncan, y'all don't like fish? When fish see y'all fishes run? Well, that's what happening with the PPP. The cross. The cross. Since August 2nd, 2020, is a dark cloud over this country. The cross. You got to gyrate them. You got to throw some holy water. You got to scrub them out with spiritual vim and bleach. The cross, people. And so the fisher folks complaining. The catch diminishing by the day. But folks, do not take my word for it. Let me set it up for you guys. Take a look at what the fisher folks said. Take a look at that. And then we come back and we examine it. Oh, Father, wait for the ending. Folks, I tell you this. Wait for the ending. Wait for it. Get out your popcorn and your cokes and share the damn live stream. Wait for it. Wait for it.
I reached with you all a couple of weeks gone back in Anna Regina concerning the same issue that with the fish decrease. Having not get fish, well, it got worse now. We not clear expense, all about them park now. And we come here today to get some assistance from you. You want to hear something that the fisherman will benefit from today. That's why we come here today.
You can't examine over get food on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 of the fisherman.
And since this oil start this thing from day one, since this oil start, the fishing gone, disappear.
And if I watch him, we bring, remember, it might be practical being here, but we know what's going on. Everybody see what's going on. Because the bigger heads for price level, the investment going on. Must be as the poor man. We can't put food on the table for each other.
You know what
I go and spend 10 days as a captain for a bank boat. And I raise 10 children now for this hustle. Build a house and everything. Now I even can't buy food for me little that because why? Spend 10 days bank boat and come in and burn 5 jump gas, still gonna back inside and walk and come back and we can't even clear people expense. We are not owing bosses.
Mr. Minister, we got representatives from different fishing here. We got Mr. We got Snapper Division there. Do you want to stand up and just tell us about the catch?
Me walk, me got a line behind me. Yeah, me know. As I stand up and fight for fisherman, all the game me like. And trust me, from the trawler to the Bangamiri to the Chinese team, to the inboard, to the outboard, all the way around Black River, the scum will lose millions of revenue. Let it be really revenue than ExxonMobil can travel the river. Imagine men about what they block the channel and we don't want there anymore. Because the draft is supposed to clear the water. Because they're supposed to clear the channel. They block it. Imagine excavator driving overboard and I never expect something like that supposed to happen. I see it in my own eye.
I got that thing, man.
Imagine there's no wharf anymore. They're not care about fucking fishermen and walk, okay? They don't care a skull.
That's what we done there.
Things tight, people. Things are tight. And you all should know by now. We don't edit here. We give you the information as we get it. We ain't trying to sell it to make a profit. We giving you guys the information as we get it. Things tight. And people are complaining, and that is what we are seeing. Those fisher folks, those rice farmers who are livid. For the rice farmers, the price of fertilizer skyrocketed. They said they never see anything like this. Under the Granger administration, things the nice time, the good life. No, oh Father, they cannot wait to see the backs of this government, this administration. And then you got the fisher folk who send the dark forces of the PPP scaring away the fishes, along with ExxonMobil. And they want to know why aren't they getting any intervention by the installed regime. Things are tight. Signs of the times. Signs of the times, folks. Signs of the times. Things tight. What else are we going to tell you guys? Signs of the times. Just last evening, we told you of this American Law Association. Let me make sure I get the title correctly. The US National Bar Association. Its president, Carlos Moore, and Joanne LeBlanc, who is the chief foreign policy advisor, as well as the chief of security and investigation, one Steve Chisholm, and Representative Roslyn Myers of South Carolina. They were visiting people. They were visiting a secret meeting with the PPP. And you know, this came about since Rickford Burke and his organization and organizations against racial discrimination had that massive march in the USA. All of a sudden, this administration on a campaign to show that it liked black people. So these guys had a secret meeting with the administration. And after we called them out, Rickford Burke called them out and CGID his organization, suddenly we saw a flurry of other meetings happening suddenly. So again, these are representatives of the US Bar Association, the US National Bar Association, reaching with members of the judiciary. In this photograph here, let me bring them a little closer so you guys can benefit. I see the Chief Justice, I see the DPP, I see the Chancellor there, among other dignitaries. I would love to see the same kind of overture to the Bar Association, but perhaps the PPP already know with the Bar Association locally there. So they don't have to wine and dine them. And then we learned that this was a mission for the US National Bar Association concerning inclusivity and a whole host of other things. Right? Matters of social justice, institutional strengthening and development. All of these things they came looking for locally. But it's only when they were called out, ladies and gentlemen, did we see an effort to actually be inclusive. And mind you, the folks said that their trip here concerned inclusivity, but only when they were called out. Y'all better share the live stream and don't get complacent and let the world see what is happening in this country. Notable as well. There was another meeting today. Unfortunately, these guys were not wined and dined so extravagantly like the other folks. This is the local Black Entrepreneurs Association who met with the PPP. Now, I would love to see a report of what came out of this. I would love to see a report. And before you all say they're house slaves, I think I could vouch for a couple of these people. I think I can vouch for a couple of these people. Y'all may say they got house slave potential. I said, hold on. Don't let me rush to judgment yet. Let us see what came out of this meeting. I want to see the report of what was discussed and what was achieved out of this Black Entrepreneurs Association's meeting with the PPP. So don't let us rush to judgment just yet. Just yet, folks. Hold on. We might go to judgment, but not yet. Let's see some of the outcomes out of this meeting. Because I know, for instance, Ruel is not a house slave. Does Ruel got house slave potential? Maybe. But don't let's rush to judgment yet, folks. Hold on. Loading, folks. We have a couple things loading. You all know we always have a couple stories loading. One of the stories we're looking at, folks, we saw on Facebook a post from a company, a gold company called Gold Target Export. On their Facebook page that says Michael Gordon is now kindly asked, this is Michael Gordon of the PPP, is kindly asked to present himself to any Gold Target Export office to settle an outstanding debt he has defaulted on for almost a month. So we're following this development here. That's a story that we have loading again. According to this Facebook page of Gold Target Export, Mr. Michael Gordon of the PPP is now kindly asked to please present himself to any Gold Target Export office to settle an outstanding debt he has defaulted on for almost a month. So PPP Michael Gordon, if you're watching the program, Gold Target Export wants to see you. Another story, ladies and gentlemen, that we see developing, that is loading. We were made to understand that this place allegedly, this place called Fireside Grill, that the boss isn't treating the employees there too well at all, and they have complained bitterly. We are being reliably informed that some of them have left the job already because of this kind of treatment.
When a fucking order come in, by fucking price, pay attention. Stop packing a fucking order that is incomplete.
Again, this allegedly is the proprietor of that establishment speaking to his employees. And for those of you who are a little startled there, let us run the track for you one more time. One more time. Girl is not a real place.
See, I am this compose and pay and do nothing all fucking afternoon. When a fucking order come in, by fucking price, pay attention. Stop packing a fucking order that is incomplete.
All we're going to say here is wow. Wow. Folks, let's start the main event. And dialing back to that story with the US National Bar Association, I want to welcome to the program this evening, folks, the one and only. Do I have him as yet? No, I don't see him here as yet, but we are going to hold for the one and only Mr. Rickford Burke. We are ready for Rickford. I think he's now joining us in the green screen, but folks, that is how people talk to their staff. Now, if you're upset, everybody got a right to be upset. But you ain't gonna keep staff very long with that kind of attitude. And the minute you got to go to those extreme, you lost the moral ground. You lost the upper hand. Folks, share the live stream. And as we pause to hold for Rickford to set up his camera properly for us there, guys, I want to remind you, I take pause to remind you that we cannot do this without you guys. And y'all know what y'all got to do. And y'all know we would never treat y'all in that way. Mr. Fireside is speaking to his folks. We different here, as you guys will understand. But guys, we need you to come on board with us and help us to move the program forward. And we can only do this without you. And you know that we have gone from strength to strength with you guys. I am so fired up because you guys give us the impetus to keep moving forward. We have created several avenues where you guys can come on board and partner with us for as low as $5 per month. Folks, it costs something to do this. And we don't care what people say we're begging for money. We rather beg for money than do what some other people doing. Getting the 30 pieces of silver. So this program is powered by you guys. We have the Cash App available. It is the $ in the ring 592. We also have the PayPal platform available. It is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And we are available also on the MMG platform. The number there is 627-6963. You have an information tip, you have got some video or what have you. That is the number you want to WhatsApp, 627-6963. And we're also available on the MoneyGram platform and also the Western Union platform as well. And guys, we ain't got no trouble with them at all. So come on board, guys, and help us to move this program from strength to strength. And you guys already are seeing some very, very noticeable changes. I might be even hearing them, and we're going to be doing even more in the days and weeks ahead, guys. And as you're on with us, we encourage you guys to, again, share the live stream. We're about to head into the main event, but I want to say it's good to see Dennis Booker. I hope you share the live stream. And Yonet Chester, Sandrine Baird, Deborah Gordon, Orlina Grant, Rhonda Lane. Oh, Father, the Coliseum packed tonight. The house full. And we got coming up still, we got Natasha Singh-Lewis, we got Rickford Burke, we got Odessa Primus, we also got the team Van West Charles, the man himself, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, we got Mr. Sharma Salban. I'm excited to talk with these guys, and also the one and only Vanessa Kissoon. All that is coming up, folks. We are about to enter into the main event, and we are so happy that you guys have stuck with us. Great to see Donna Liverpool and Gwenda Jones, Isola Allen. Guys, take the opportunity to share the live stream, and we want to see those emojis as well. We don't run on water. We need you guys to partner with us, and we always say you have to share the live stream, because we want as many persons to benefit from our program as possible. Click that share. Don't wait to the end. Odwin Lake, hit that share button, smash those emojis. We want to see what are the emotions out there. Leon, Logan, thanks for joining us. Ensure you share. George Tanner, Jermaine Osborne, great to see all you fantastic people. Trust you guys have had a fantastic day. Wilton Blue, and I see Myrna Monroe. I see Leonie, is it Williams? It's gone by so fast, guys. Shondell Warden, Rayon Nurse, Valerie Archibald, all you fantastic people. And again, we are getting ready to change up the order a little bit. Bear with us as the guys in the green room get set to come on again. Coming up, guys, Rickford Burke. Coming up, Natasha Singh-Lewis. Coming up, Odessa Primus. Ready to have these guys. Coming up, Dr. Richard Van West Charles. Coming up, Sharma Solomon. And we also have Vanessa Kissoon, guys. Smash those emojis. We want to see what is the mood out there. The PPP, come back, people. And some people getting the 30 pieces of silver. Not so, Natasha Joseph. I know you would never collect no 30 pieces of silver. Don Fraser, you in number with those people getting the 30 pieces of silver at all. Neither is Shawnette Barnes or Donna McDonald. No 30 pieces of silver there at all. And I do have in the green room, I see Natasha Singh-Lewis, who appears to be ready. And I've seen a lot of red flags. Folks said this 30 pieces of silver issue is issue to got your red flags up for. So I will take the one and only Member of Parliament, Natasha Singh-Lewis, who is ready to go. And folks, I have the privilege of having here with me tonight, my sister and my friend. I dare say, y'all don't come with me story. Good, the one and only Natasha Singh-Lewis. How are you doing? Welcome.
Good evening, Sharon. Good evening, and good evening to your viewers. I am doing perfectly fine.
Great, and we are fantastically happy about that. And look who I got with me. Guess who just showed up? Oh, Father, pound for pound fighter. No puns there. The one and only Odessa Primus. Odessa, are you ready? You know, when you got a big fighter, you got to bring out these people, you know. You got to bring them out properly. Right? Sorry, got the drum roll. Look at you, Odessa. You look like you're in executive office. Welcome. Folks, I'm privileged to have with me the Honorable Member of Parliament, Miss Natasha Singh-Lewis, and the prospective Member of Parliament, Odessa Prime. Look at that face. So folks, let's get right to it. Now, there was an issue that burst out on social media quite recently, and I understand why, because I raised it just last evening on this program. It's an issue where you got men in the PPP who commit some grave infractions against women. In the case of Hugh, Todd, and folks like Kwame McCoy, the assault on Tabitha Sarabo Halley, and the assault on that foreign officer there at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And then to try to kind of resuscitate and rehabilitate their image, they have these PR stunts with women and so forth. And quite recently, one of those PR stunts involved Utah with a young lady handing over to her some menstrual products. And I said here on the program last evening that the products are not in question. The program is not in question. It's the Jagabat, Utah. So, Natasha, let's begin with you.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us what was in your mind when you made that post.
So Sharon, you are on to what's on my mind. When I made that post, I asked, why would a public figure like Hugh Todd do something like this,
He's a
right?
jagabat,
But
the public face, a jagabat.
that was the post. That was the post itself. But there are so many things underlying that, and let me share some of them, because that post would have taken on a life by itself on social media, and the Rangatang came out like she usually do, and screenshot and consider that to be backward and a taboo issue. So let me give you the real thought about it. Sharad, I would say for myself and for all of us who I speak for, that the period poverty issue is a real one. I think that the First Lady's initiative is laudable. But what was done last weekend, I believe, is horrible.
It's trying to save face with PR stuff. Correct.
Let me say to you that the First Lady has raised quite a while now, $6 million on this issue. So, Sharad, you cannot use this as a band-aid issue. You cannot just show up at one school and take out a photograph with 20 girls and you hand them out a package, and that's okay. If you want to address a social issue, you have to do it strategically. And so,
and again, it is not the social issue. It's not the social. It's you, Todd. It's the jagabat you, Todd. What he did at Foreign Affairs. You know, as the verbal assault almost on that, well, not almost, the verbal assault on that officer there, and then trying to save face by hiding under this program and doing this PR stuff. That is what the issue is.
Yes, Sharad, and we will not have that. So let me address that issue, because after Manichan made this a public debate, as immature as she is, instead of saying, well, you don't agree with this or you're questioning this, let me talk to the young opposition member of parliament. Let me have her thoughts on why she thinks this should not happen. Instead, she went on Facebook and created a whole mischief, saying that the APNU AFC member of parliament is backward, this is a taboo issue, and so on. It's not a taboo issue.
Yeah.
Sharon, I'm a Muslim woman, and my children, I will not say that it's okay. We don't go about handing out pads in public as Muslim women. We don't do that. So for me, culturally and Islamically, it is unacceptable for a man to be giving out packages so openly. I do agree that we have to get rid of the stigma that is attached, but that is not the way. Hugh Todd is not the way to get rid of stigma. He is considered a different figure at Foreign Affairs. We've seen how he is behaving towards women.
For an officer
and
there.
So going and set yourself up with a teenage girl, it's not the best cover. That should have never happened.
And then Odessa had some choice words on Facebook as well. Odessa.
Hi, good night, Sharon.
Good night. You didn't like, apparently. You never saw a bacchanal that you didn't like.
No, I appreciate a good bacchanal. But I want to say good night to your viewers as well. For me, I guess it's a little different because I have several issues with what took place. First and foremost, I noticed the post by the minister Manik Chan, and I thought that it was a missed opportunity for her and for the government. If we are going to say that this is a taboo issue, and I'm inclined to believe that it is, how do we erase that? How do we erase the stigma attached to it? By sending this man to give these little girls a pack of pads? No. If you Todd shares out 10,000 packs of pads, it will still be a taboo issue. And I think that sometimes we put the horse before the cart. And I believe that this is one of those issues where the cart carrying the horse. You know, it is an opportunity to educate, to look at how we can, because this is a culture. This is learned behavior. This is what we know. This is something that is embedded in very many of us. So in order for us to change that, It has to come through education, which is a process. Let us start having talks on be it the Learning Channel or the Channel 11 and whatever other channels about men's involvement. Let us start having discussions with men on the panel about women and women issues and so forth. Perhaps if you, Todd, had been somebody who was more involved in women related matters, while I may have held the same position, I would have been able to understand that this is somebody who has been behind gender related issues, and I can see why they kind of picked him, but he hasn't been. And my issue was not even about the story with you, Todd, recently, but it is about how women and girls feel about menstruation and menstrual things around the cycle and all of that. And I think it was an embarrassing situation. First and foremost, I would like to applaud the First Lady for this initiative. I think it's a great initiative, though it does speak volumes, though, because you have to be at a certain place economically as a country for us to introduce giving out pads to children in these communities. But more importantly, my issue comes with the execution. The idea is good. The execution of the idea is where my issue lies. I think even with the First Lady doing it, even though she looks quite beautifully and so on, going and these girls stand up and pose up and take out a picture, collecting a pack of pads or whatever it is that is in that nicely packaged something, though that is what we were made to understand, that it's pads. I don't know if it comes with other little hygiene products or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, I became concerned because I wanted to know, how do you select these girls that are seated in this audience? Because it's quite evident that it's not the entire school.
Mm-hmm.
So are you picking out the children who are living in a poverty situation? Are the parents involved? Are they aware? Are they okay with this? Because you're also additionally taking out photographs of these children and you're posting them on social media. It is an embarrassment to these children. And we're at a age and stage where we're dealing with things like bullyism. And I believe that this opens these children to this, because a pack of pads is not an expensive thing. So you got to be very poor to not be able to afford a pack of pads, or be in a real financial spot right now, because sometimes you're in poor, but things rough at this point. So, it's sad. And, people say, oh gosh, why you got to make a mountain out of a molehill? They're just giving the children pads. No. It is a mountain. That is what it is. Because if we cannot look at this situation and we cannot identify the problems in these things, then how do we fix it?
Yeah.
And we especially, I'm not a politician, but for the two of you and for you, Todd, everybody's looking at it. Oh, you're saying this because you, Todd, is a PPP minister, and it is because Natasha is a APNU supporter. You're holding this position. I couldn't care less about where Natasha was or where you, Todd, was politically. My concern is for these children, and it is an unfortunate situation. If I can add a scenario or two here, since I'm taking over the program. For example, let me add a scenario here. If you are working in an office, and let us say Bob has an order issue. Now you do not go and draw the attention of the entire office. Here he. Everybody, let me get your attention. Bob has not been smelling too kind. And so we have decided as an office to pool our resources to ensure that Bob does not sensitize the whole place. So we bought deodorants. We got 13 because one is for December and then you have one for the rest of next year. You do not do that because it is an embarrassing situation to put Bob in. In fact, some people have such difficulty even talking about these things. And I know some people are probably wondering, but why is she talking about pads? Because these are personal items. You might even feel so bad, you just put it in a drawer. At the desk or whatever the case is, because of what it is. You have people going to the shop. I have been in shops where people waited until almost everybody gone or all the males are out to the shop, and then they piece a pack of pads. Some of them.
That's how I used to do it when I was sent by my mother. That's how I used to do it.
They're so ashamed that they ain't even saying the word, they point into it. One of the, as if they ain't got a name. And we cannot move from that place of saying, from just saying one another and pointing out. You have adults, grown women in the supermarket, grown women going to the supermarket, and when they go to cash, and you see they pick up the pack of pads, you think they're looking around to see who's seeing the buying pads. Is it that we aren't conscious that that they know that we have to use it? Yes. But for some people, they're not at that comfort level as yet. And we have to help them to get there. There's, in the next couple of years, this is going to be perfectly fine to me. If it starts with the education, if it starts with the unlearning and the learning that it is okay. I wanted to add something else. Don't very well me so you can cut me, Sharon. I didn't invite myself here. You brought me here.
Like session.
Yes. I noticed one of the arguments, two of the arguments that people had was one, that as a child, you were sent to the shop to buy pads as a male for your sister or for your mother. You weren't sent for the neighbor. So don't come at me with, as a little boy, you had to buy pads and whatever the case is, because it didn't make you comfortable. And some men, even though they bought pads to the sister, they're quite uncomfortable. They prefer to give you the money. Because why? We have not been socialized to think differently. So let us start with looking at how to socialize people differently and to educate people differently, to give a better understanding. Let's have little programs. Let's create little animated things for educational purposes. We did it for, I think, if I'm not mistaken, for rape and for talking about people who have been victimized in any way and so on. We did it for that. And also I noted, because I said, as for my house, I think people on social media, they're so eager to defend their position that they're not prepared to listen to yours. And that is a problem that we have as a society.
And then people here to respond and not to internalize and see how.
Exactly. Some people, Odessa, how you could, I'm speaking for my house. I do not want men who is not the father of my child or a close relative bringing certain items for my children. Even my friends, when they buy things for my children, you give it to me and let me give it to them. Because that indirectly creates a relationship. Girls say, maybe I'm a little paranoid in dealing with these things. Maybe I am. But at the end of the day, I work with women who have been abused. And if there is one thing that I can tell you, is that in almost every case, a door was open that introduced this figure to your child. And I am not opening unnecessary doors in the lives of my children. And that's why I'm overtly protective. Because you can't unrape a child. You can't unput a child in a dangerous situation.
Let us agree it is a useful program and a very, very sensitive issue that we gotta keep hammering away at until that taboo is removed. And it probably was not the best person to use. The final word goes to Natasha. Very well, Odessa.
So Sharon, I honestly believe that if we are going to raise issues, we should bring recommendations. I do believe that the issue of period poverty has taken its rounds on social media, and this is the ideal opportunity for us as policymakers to make some recommendations. And I really thank Odessa for her
It's a teachable moment. Yes. I think that is what they call it.
Yes. So Odessa has alluded to one of our recommendations. And I actually heard earlier today that why not use the learning channel as the Minister of Education, and these are young girls that you're concerned about, use the learning channel to start the education program that Odessa is speaking about. You have to cater for the larger communities. So let's have a countrywide campaign that she was talking about. We did for rape and so many other issues. Let's have a countrywide campaign. Let's stop embarrassing our students by giving them one pack of pad, taking a photograph, putting them on social media and causing them embarrassment. That's what it is. Because you can remember, Sharon, in high school, when they really want to taunt you, it's all sorts of things they look at, and that photograph is disgusting. And before, let me say this to you, that that child's identity is known because that photograph came from the First Lady's page. But before I shared my comment, I covered the child's face. And this is something that the Rights of the Child Commission should be looking at.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
are students in school. The
And again,
embarrassing
it's a
moments like
very,
this should not happen.
it's a very, very sensitive issue. And the final word goes to this. I ain't want a story. Take the final
Yes, I
word.
like that. I wanted to say though, if I could add, of course I can, because I can do as I wish. But I wanted to add though that in terms of the rolling out of this program, you know, we could perhaps look at having dispensers placed in the school where the girls in the females' washroom. So the whole schooling got to know that you don't have. You could just access it there through the head teacher's office or whatever the case is. Because you could always go into the head teacher office as if you got a little problem and you go in with your bag, you put your pocket pads in there, you beat out. There is no need for all of this and picture taking out and so on. I understand that when it comes to certain things, especially when people are being funded, take out a picture of the people who come to do the distribution now. Take out a picture, let the whole school be there, and you take out a picture of the whole school, boys, girls, everybody, you do the thing and so on, and then you give it to the school. So I think that there needs to be a more creative way of ensuring that these children get these these pads. But thank you very much, Sherrod, for inviting me.
We hear you guys.
I know that at this point we have to leave. Natasha and I would like to say thank you to all those of you who are viewing the program. We do appreciate this. And now that the pads are out of the way, we were able to listen to the persons coming up. Thank you very much. Do stay tuned in, contribute. Don't forget, you have to donate. This program does not run on water, as Sherrod would have said. Send the money. Sherrod has no problem with MoneyGram. You send that money. If he gets a problem, send the money to me. Thank you very much and do have a pleasant night.
Thank you so much, Sherrod. And I would like to encourage the viewers and all of your supporters to share the live, just like Priyaman Chan and Indra Chandra Paul would have shared my Facebook page to the world. Share the live tonight. Share it, so that you have a better perspective on this matter.
Fantastic.
Share the live, folks.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. You're so kind.
Bye,
guys,
Sharon.
there you have it. Moving things along. We got lots of folks still lined up. We're taking Rickford Burke, and then I see Vanessa Kissoon is already here. I see Richard Van West Charles is already here, guys. I'm so excited to talk to these folks. I'll take Rickford Burke very, very quickly, and then head to the team Van West Charles, guys. Rickford, welcome. How are you doing? Put on your mic for me, Rickford. Thanks very much.
Good night. Good night. I'm sorry about that. Good night to you. Good night to your listeners. Good night to your panelists.
Rickford, you know, part of our discussion this evening is on this issue concerning the US National Bar Association and what looked like initially a secret meeting. It concerned matters of social justice, according to them, institutional strengthening and development in Guyana. Very important issues, but it started out to what looked like a very, very secretive meeting with the PPP. The CGID, the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy, of which you're president, pulled out a very, very strong statement. And in that statement, Rickford, you said, or the organization rather, said it is disgraceful that the NBA delegation decided to visit Guyana without performing due diligence, without speaking to the leaders of the Guyanese diaspora, and without meeting with Black attorneys in Guyana to understand the political, racial, and social justice dynamics in Guyana. Expand, if you can.
Oh, certainly. Well, first of all, let me explain the importance of the National Bar Association. The National Bar Association is a historic Black organization. They represent Black attorneys in the United States. They're in the league of the NAACP. That's how important this organization is. I understand that they were invited to go to Guyana. Now, when we saw that they had a meeting with Mr. Phillips, Gail Teixeira, and some others in the PPP to talk about social justice, the board felt very insulted and that felt that other Guyanese of African descent would be insulted as well. You can't have people like Gail Teixeira and Mark Phillips, who represent a racist, ethnocratic, apartheid regime, talking about social justice when we have been talking about the absence of social justice in Guyana. Imagine the PPP, that is an oppressive organization, that is a criminal organization, that hates black people, that attack Black Lives Matter, that is not working for justice for Joel and Isaiah Henry Boston, or in Boston,
Yep.
Kevin Andrews, and the 1,400 black young black men that were murdered.
Ring inclusive.
Exactly. They're the ones who are killing people. How could they be meeting with black attorneys, black leaders in America to talk about social justice? So we felt it was insulting. Now, let me say, since that statement went out, we have been in touch with the delegation on the ground there. They've met with the black attorneys. They've met with some other black leaders in Guyana. I understand that tonight they're meeting with some of the black businessmen and contractors that have been discriminated against by the PPP.
Fantastic. And in addition to that, Rickford, you have said also that the National Bar Association of the US, their officials must inquire from black attorney and activists about their elusive effort to pursue and obtain justice for Afro-Guyanese who have been killed by the PP, and you've named some names. So quite a few missteps by this organization, and I'm happy that because of the pushback of CGID, we're now seeing them coming the right way.
Well, in the interest of full disclosure, one of the members of the delegation told me that they did do due diligence. No, that's up to them. What we wanted to ensure that there is fairness. They must have a balanced view of what's going on in Guyana. And the PPP has this very strange attitude. When we raise these issues of racism, racial discrimination, injustice, etc., they don't sit at a table with stakeholders. They want to have pictures with black people. I say, hey, look, I'm taking pictures with black people. Why? They're advised by the Trump Republicans. It's so disrespectful to black people that all we need is a handout or a photograph. We want to be at the seat of the table. We are stakeholders. We don't want photographs. So instead of lobbying black people to come to Guyana for a photo opportunity, the PPP must sit down with black members of parliament, with the opposition leader, with black stakeholders in the country, and discuss equitable governance. That's what we want. We don't want photo opportunity. We don't want to beg
and then move beyond to action.
This is our country. We need equitable governance, and we want to make sure that the wealth and the national patrimony of Guyana is equally distributed among everybody, and not only East Indian supporters of the PPP.
Fantastic. Rickford, we're so grateful for the work that you and CGID doing, keeping them accountable, especially those folks in the diaspora, letting them know exactly who these Jagabats are. Rickford, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for having me. Good night.
All right. Good evening, Rickford. Thanks for joining us. Folks, the one and only Rickford Burke from the CGID organization there in the USA. That is the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy. And again, Rickford Burke is the president. Folks, I'm privileged, as I said, to have with me this evening Vanessa Kissoon, the one and only, and also Dr. Richard Van West Charles, both representing Team Richard Van West Charles, join us this evening to talk a little bit about the campaign. And I want to ask Vanessa some questions as to her support for Dr. Charles. Folks, welcome. It is my privilege again. Let me welcome the man of the moment, and then Miss Kissoon. Vanessa, how are you guys doing? Doc, how are you guys doing?
Good, man.
Good night. Good night.
Fantastic. Apologies, we had a full house this evening. I know you guys were waiting to come on a little early, but we love having you guys on nonetheless. Dr. Van West Charles, we had you in the ring a couple weeks ago. It seemed like just yesterday, and we know this race has taken off. You have launched your campaign out of Linden. I was quite surprised by that because I didn't know you had roots in Linden. I was born in Linden, you know, so I claim my roots. Why Linden, Doc?
Well, look, Linden historically has been a community which has shown leadership not only for the issues of Linden, but leadership on national issues. And in many ways, if you go back to the 60s, Linden has always been at the forefront, dealing with the issues. Many people may not remember when Demba was there, and they had the colonial operations of the Bauxite Company. We had an apartheid situation, more or less, in then Mackenzie. And the community showed leadership. in many ways, and it is for that reason where we are today that we need to have a leadership that can stand up to the PPPC to defend the issues of the people, and it's for that reason it's representative of what action is required now more than ever.
Fantastic, fantastic. I watched some of it, and I said, Doc is going to get, as we see in political terms, a lot of bounce out of this launch here. And then we saw after that, we went to understand that Vanessa had endorsed your candidacy, and I think some folks were surprised. I don't know why. Maybe Vanessa can tell us why persons were surprised by that. But more so, why Dr. Van Westchaz? What about his platform and his message and his vision resonated with you, Vanessa?
Okay, thank you very much, Sherrod, and good night again to yourself. Good night to Dr. Charles and your listening and viewing audience. Let me say this, Sherrod, and I said it last night. When I met Dr. Charles and I listened to him, and he reached out to me after all that had happened, and he reached out a hand and he asked me to, give the party another chance, give him a chance to fix and to rebuild the People's National Congress reform, because that is what we need. I must say that I was impressed with his competence and his experience, especially when he, explained about his experience in organization and the different countries that he worked in and putting Guyana on the map. I know a lot of persons may not know about it, and we will ensure that it is known, because I think people need to know, and I know that Doc will let you know a little more about that. And also, when you look at how he would have transformed GWI most recently, right? I think he did an excellent job. I mean, our water is brung again. We all experiencing it.
Yep.
Right. But we know that under Dr. Van Westchaz at GWI, a lot of things were done. And so I appreciate that. And I believe deep down in my heart that he has a vision and a plan to take the party forward, which also deals with inclusiveness. I'm here, Sherrod, and it shows. And even before my reinstatement, I was on board with Doc, because he would have reached out a hand. And I want to encourage other the delegates out there and persons. Let us listen, and let us make that right choice, because we all want to see the PNCR rebuild and reunite. And I believe this is the man for the job, Dr. Rickford Van Westchaz, and he has the experience, and I know he has the party at heart and the people, not only of the party, but the people of Guyana. Because, Sherrod, let me say this. When we went around to meetings, I heard young people, and when they were talking about his stewardship at GWI as their boss, they call him, they said as their boss, and how they could have related to him, and how he listened, and persons talk about how he would return their phone calls, and that he would listen to them. And I think that is very, very important. And we need to realize that when we have leaders that can return a call and listen to you and share their views and take your views on board, it's very important. And I think someone with those qualities will take the People's National Congress reform where we all want it to be and where we all would like to see it.
Great. Dr. Charles, clearly your message is getting through and it's resonating. Is it that message of the experience and you being, I think what you said the last time you were here, an international public servant, you think that is the message needed for this time?
Well, I think the message is the focus of the party on growth and development at all levels, and a commitment of the party to work with all of our people, all of our members, all of our supporters, all Guyanese. And I think that is important in that you begin, as I said, in terms of the party, where the rubber hits the road is at the group level, within the community, showing the leadership and working in the interest of people's development. Once you are committed to do that, once you're committed to ensure that the voices of the people are welcome, the different opinions of the people are welcome, that is where we can place the issues on the table, find solutions, and move forward in a sustainable manner. I think also is to ensure that young people, their voices, opinions are at the table with respect to decision making, with respect to the recommendations and finding the solutions.
Great. Vanessa, for your part, you talked about your reinstatement, and clearly you aren't, after 7 years. It seems to be a very symbolic number. You aren't going to be standing on the sidelines for very long. And we know you haven't been on the sidelines standing. What do you see your role going forward under Richard Van West Charles, leader of the PNCR?
Well, let me first of all say, like Doc was saying, Sherrod, and this has been our message all the time. Groups,
Talk to us.
working with the people, working with groups, and that is my passion. Because think about it, Sherrod, if we were that organized and our groups were organized and we were being allowed to, at the level of the groups, to work and to show our potential, when we call for lockdown, we would not have a problem. The groups would have been ready. The groups would have been charged because they would have already been organized and been there on the ground, knowing exactly what to do. They would have been mobilized, and that is my passion, working with Doc, because I've been into different areas with him, and we understand that, we recognize that the groups need to be strengthened, and this is where I see my role. And I said to Doc, even when we engaged me to come on board, because Sherrod, I was going to the whole
Thanks.
party stuff and all of that. I really was. I was out of it. And he extended that hand, and he, as I said last night, he caught my white towel before it hit the ground, because I was throwing
I
in
love
the
it.
white towel,
Love
and he
it.
reached out to me and he said, "Let us work." I said to him from up front, I don't need to be on the central executive body to work, Sherrod. My place is working within the different areas and ensuring that the groups are organized and we strengthen our groups, because we have to come from bottom up. It's not from top down. It's from
Yeah.
bottom up. And we need to have those groups work. We need to have them play their role. And I want to say this, Sherrod. All of us, just like the APNU AFC coalition, you have a role. I see you had Miss Singh there, Natasha Singh MP.
Yeah.
She has a role. We all have a role in the People's National Congress reform. I will tell my students that in the classroom. We all have a role. But the thing about it, if we all understand our role, then we can work together and we will be able to build any organization or build anything that we want to build when we recognize our role and we can work together. And I want to say this, all of us can be leaders. All of us can be the chairman. All of us can. So that is why we need to understand our roles. And I know personally, I don't have to be on the central exec to be able to play a part in the People's National Congress. There's so much work to be done, Sharon. There's so much to be done that once we all know our roles and we can play our role. And listen, I tell you tonight, Sharon, after working with Doc for this past month and change, you understand? I know that he knows his role. He knows that what is my
Fantastic.
role. He knows what are the roles of the others, and he's allowing us to play our roles. And I tell you, with this gentleman at the helm of the People's National Congress reform, we can't go wrong. And I want to encourage other
Fantastic.
members.
And
And
I can't go wrong, Sherrod, with Vanessa.
at all. And I know Vanessa is dubbed as a grassroots person who in touch with the folks on the ground. You guys are moving around. What are you hearing? You're talking to groups. You're talking to folks at the grassroots level. What are you guys hearing?
Well, let me say to you that the members are very clear in terms of their non-involvement in many ways. And as I explained to them what we used to be like and where we want to go, and the connectedness and the role of the leadership of the group, they're enthused. I just came from a meeting this evening in Buxton, and I spent some time explaining where we want to go to get away from the issue of, and more or less it's building a culture of participatory democracy. And when we choose councillors, etc., it's not about who you know, but by establish a democratic process which would allow the best through a democratic process, through a democratic vote, that who will be representative. And then the organization's commitment to prepare its members to function at all levels, as an NDC councillor, as an RDC councillor, as a parliamentarian, as a member of the board. So when they're identified through a process, not because whom do you know, then when you get into that position, you're not from ground zero, but you are moving because you already know what are your functions and how to perform to represent the people's issues at those levels.
Great. I'm happy to hear that. Part of the discussion of the campaign, since you were here, Doc, it's been, I heard, for instance, Simona Brooms, I think it was, talked about the quality of the campaign. She didn't like some of the attacks that she was hearing. Is any of that, not necessarily her comments, but any of that thing, those themes, generally you or is there a direction that the campaign is going in that you don't like? Or, where are you on those issues? Because that has been kind of topical too.
Well, I think it was
of the campaign.
I think when it started off, it was probably outright. But I think now things are coming back to the center. But maybe one of the things which should have happened in the very beginning is a commitment to a code of ethics, a code of conduct in the electoral process, because we're all from one party. And therefore it should be a battle of ideas. And that is what I would like to see. At the end of the day, we all have to work in the interest of the party. And it's the best, not only the ideas, it's the best approach that you would use to bring people on board, to build your teams that you have to build. And what is your experience? How have you done this before? And you've got to be results driven to ensure that we can move along the road at a faster rate.
Great. So we are just on a month out. I saw the candidates list has been released by the party. Lots of folks, I think, vying for vice chairman. That seems to have the most nominations. Lots of a few persons have been added to those now who've been nominated for leader of the party. As we go down the road, Doc, do you think now that we've had about 3 weeks behind us, there are sharper distinctions between you and the other candidates, especially where your vision is concerned? And Vanessa can chime in too from your standpoint. Are there sharp distinctions between Dr. Charles and the other candidates who are running for leader of the party?
I should go, Vanessa.
Go ahead, Doc. You go ahead.
Well, I think there's a sharp distinction in that I don't subscribe to a slate. And I don't do that because I believe that once we have a democratic process, whoever is the leader must respect the outcome of that process and be able to build a team to work in the interest of all. When you establish a slate, my view is that's the genesis of factionalism. That once you establish that I have the slate, it means that these are who I want to work with, and I may have a difficulty working with anyone else. That is not a democratic approach, and so I do not subscribe to it. I think it sends the wrong messages to people who are competing also, who are not necessarily on a slate. That and this is one of the things that's resonating with people, because they agree, and you're not bullied to go with the slate, because in many cases people vote for a slate without even knowing people who are on the slate. And that's not a healthy democracy at all. And that's why you don't have stakeholdership in the political process, because some of these people don't know these people. And they are occupying positions without presenting their case to the general membership.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important, and that's one of the critical distinctions between it. The other distinction, though, is my experience in terms of organizational development and management. Clearly, I've had more experience nationally and internationally as compared to the two other candidates. Well, at least, well, with the exception probably of Carl, who I just see is nominated. I don't know whether
Yes, correct.
he is going to go forward. But surely, in terms of organizational development and management, that is probably one distinction. In terms of portfolios that I've had at the governmental level and at the international level, I have the breadth of experience. I've been as a minister for health, water, environment, and housing at one time, together with other functions, and also medical education, food policy, and the environment. And when I look at my international experience, you consider my international experience, it is considered, when you consider it, it is not one country, but a series of countries managing their programs, working with different teams.
Yeah.
And building them and strengthening them. So my experience has not been that of a slate. When I move from one country to the other, I've got to build a team so that we can deliver. And so that has been my experience. So I wouldn't have that difficulty with my political acumen in moving this car along the right road.
Fantastic. Vanessa?
Yes, well, I want to endorse what Doc said there just now. And also, like I said earlier, his experience. Sherrod, I was amazed when I actually met Doc for the first time face to face. Because, you know, we know of him, we heard of him. And a lot of times we know of people we hear, we know it's Burnham's son-in-law and so on. But when he reached out to me and then we had a conversation on the phone, then he met with me, we sat and we spoke. I was impressed. And I honestly believe, like I said, he is the person with the experience. And when he spoke about not having a slate, one of the things that he said to us, and he said to me, and I know he's been saying at meetings, is when he talked about having to organize with different countries, persons from different countries that he didn't know. He never met them, but he had to work with them because he was placed at the head, and he had to build a team with people from different countries and, you know, work with them. And he was able to do that. So this is a man that we know that can bring people together, that can organize and work with people. You understand? And that is something that I admire. And I ask persons, because, you know, one of the things persons are using as a distinction for their self is to say that the people don't know Doc, or Doc is not known by party people. Dr. Richard Van Westchals in 2018 was elected as a central executive member by party people. I don't know, Doc, were you co-ops member or were you elected by the members?
Elected.
Exactly. So we cannot say that he's not known by the party people. He was elected by members of the People's National Congress Reform to the central exec. And so we need not to say that we must stop using that as a distinction, or to use that to say, you know, he's not known. The man is known. The man did an excellent job with GWI. Come on. All of us now are crying and complaining. We water brung again. We ain't getting the kind of pressure, but we were enjoying it under his stewardship. He organized young people in that ministry there. And so, you know, he has what it takes. And he believes in inclusiveness. He believes in allowing persons. Look, we were at a meeting, and all the meetings that we go to, I listened to this young man, this gentleman, and you know what he said to the person? He said, if the other candidates have not come to you as yet, please do not stay away when they come. Listen to them. Hear what they have to say. That is the quality of a true leader. Not calling up people and telling them, do not attend this body meeting or don't go. So that is one of the things that you know, he stands out with. He's telling persons you need to listen. It's a democratic process. The PNCR is the only party that we do this. You understand? This is a democratic process. And so I want to encourage the other delegates and my other members of the People's National Congress Reform. Let us not go on emotions and
Yeah.
sentiments. All right?
Yeah.
Let us
Yeah.
go with the real deal. And the person who will take this party forward. Dr. Richard Van West Charles.
Fantastic. And piggybacking on what you have said, Vanessa, Doc, for those folks who might put any stock in what Freddie Kissoon writes, he had a similar opinion that Dr. Richard Van Charles is a different generation, but clearly your message and your experience in public life and in management and all that has resonated with Vanessa's generation. Not so?
Well, when I was at GWI, for example, I was the oldest in the management, and all of the other executive directors were quite young. We had a good time exchanging views, etc. And I sought to ensure that to mentor them and ensure that they were exposed, because I really ensure that they leave these shores so that they can open their vistas to come back and give up and provide leadership and create opportunity for our own people. So when you looked at the commitment of the staff in GWI, when the pipes were breaking all the time, but those workers were there, that is the commitment we want. But that commitment doesn't come by itself. It comes by the way how you manage and how you build your teams and how you say thank you and how you help. So I want to say to you that age is a number, as Sparrow says.
Just a number.
But you've got to have the experience. You've got to be fit, and I am fit and ready to do when I started to work at GW and I started to walk and climb, one guy said, "I wonder what Doc's using." But you've got to be committed. Look, this is how my father-in-law worked. He worked very hard, committed to the issues of the people. That is what I learned, and that's how I act. I acted like that nationally. I acted like that internationally in service of people. People as a people-centered program, and that's where I go.
And Sherrod, let me add this too.
Right ahead. Right ahead.
Doc is not afraid to embrace people like myself and Mr. Solomon. He's not afraid and to listen to our views. He doesn't feel when we enter the room with him, the room doesn't become small for him. The room expands because he understands the value and he understands what we have to offer. And not only myself and Charmer, there are other young people, Miss Howard, also from Linden, young Royston Lester, who just out of high school. And so, and he would have embraced this team. And we've been working. And, this is something that we need to understand. When you have a leader who is not afraid of your presence and is not afraid to listen and to share views and even listen to what you have to say, then we are going places with a leader like this, Sherrod. This is somebody that we want at the helm of the People's National Congress Reform. It is not always about being loud. It is not always about just a big bark, It is all, because sometimes, and I know I said it at the launch, they got a saying I grew up hearing from my granny, easy snake is bite at Sherrod. And a lot of times you have some dogs with big barks, but they ain't got no bite, Sherrod. You know what I'm saying? You got your friend and you got this big dog, and when you go, the dog say, "Hoof, big bark," and you jump because you're afraid, and then your friend say, "Man, no, come in. He just bark loud. He's a pet. He not gonna bite. Come in." And so sometimes let us not be fooled by these things. You understand? And then we have people behind the leader who we know that will work, who we know that big bark too.
Yeah.
We know that, So it's not just about a one man. It's not about a one man, Sharon. And I said it last night on Mark. One man, the PPP is not afraid of Sharon. The PPP is afraid of a united People's National Congress reform, and that is what Dr. Van West Richard Child will bring to the table, a united PNCR that will confront the real enemy, which is the PPPC.
Yep. Those jagabats. Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles, again, I think Vanessa touched on some very important points, which says to me leadership. You didn't allow her to drop that white towel. You expand the room as against making the room small. People feel welcome. You're approachable. Soft power is useful, and one gets the impression the longer folks talk with you, the more charismatic you become. What is your pitch to those delegates undecided? We're still a long way out. A month in politics is like 10 years. You
Right.
know, we're still a very long way out.
I am talking to them because the issue is about, first of all, you got to be committed to the people. You've got to understand what that commitment is in terms of service. But you've got to understand that you want an organization in which you want people to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want people who are sitting there and unable to share their views because they feel that they're threatened by anyone. So I have always opened the doors. I believe, I am committed that you have to allow all the flowers to bloom.
1,000 flowers.
You've got to ensure that everyone has the opportunity and feel comfortable that even if they differ, they must express themselves. Because in many cases, it is the minority view that is the kernel of truth. If sometimes we go with the majority, but that's the wrong position. But if the minority feels threatened and is unable to express themselves, then we lose as a people. So I think that is important. When you at all levels, it is not only the people at the top. So as the party is so structured, when we, if you look at the constitution of the PNC, and you look at where the General Council is, it is a way of bringing the views, the opinions, the voices of all of the comrades, from top to bottom and bottom to top, to find the solutions in the interests of the people. But you've got to be committed to that and not be threatened by the other voices.
Vanessa, and for your part, you know, we hear you outline a whole host of things as to why you think Dr. Van West Charles is the man for the moment. I want to give you the final word. You know, if we have missed anything, those delegates still on the fence, this is why you guys should be thinking about Dr. Richard Van West Charles for leader of the PNCR. Vanessa, your audio.
Sorry, I realized my mic was muted. Sorry. Most importantly, Sherrod, and to your listening audience, to the delegates, I want them to understand that it's a democratic right and process to listen, because you cannot have if you are locked in, if you're just locked in because you made a decision that this is your candidate and you're locked in and you're not open to listening and to giving others a chance and to hear them, then this is the type of thing that will not move this party forward. We cannot be locked in. We have to give everyone a chance, and you have to listen. And the thing about it, you have to make informed choices for yourself. Yeah. And like Doc said, don't be bullied. We know persons are being called and so on. But at the end of the day, this is not just about a one man. This is not just about the two persons. This is about a party that we all love. This is about the People's National Congress reform. And so we need to ensure, because if you don't, I'm saying this to you, Sherrod, because I know persons who, after hearing Doc, they went up to him. I know you wouldn't want to say it, but they went up to him and he said, you know what? My whole perspective changed. Just because they listened. And they were at one time locked in. You cannot remember, at the end of the day, this is about all of us, the party that we all love. And so we have to allow the process to work. And let us treat our comrades, let us treat each other with respect. You know, let us treat each other with love, because after this, we have to work together. And like Doc said, he doesn't have a slate because he wants persons. And you know, one of the things I know he said at the meeting, he said at one of the meetings, he said, listen, even those persons vying for chair and vice chair must come to you. Even those persons, they must come to the groups, and the groups must hear them. The groups must hear what are their plans, what they have to offer. And whoever becomes chair or vice chair, he's going to work with those persons. He's going to ensure that that team works. Because what we tell our students, Sherrod, teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Yep.
And I
Yep.
want to say to us tonight, we need to listen. We need to listen. And for those of us who are asking, where was Doc for 23 years, and where, you know, he's been there. He's been working. Some of us always do work in the background, but at least we know for the past 5 years, he did an excellent job at
Yep.
GWI. Come on, let us not do that. We need to give credit where it's due, you know?
But
And I know some persons, like I said, they say he's not known to the party. Come on, he was elected in 2018. He was not a co-opt member. He was the elected member of the central exec by the party members. So we cannot be saying these things. And he has the experience. He has the openness. He has the competence. And I want us to understand, just like me, because I'm saying to you, Sherrod, based on my last experience at Pleasant, with that situation there, you know, that was it for me. That was it for me. I said, you know what, I'm going to relax for probably 7 more years. But you know what I realized? That caught that white towel. And in the Bible, it says 7 is the year, is the number of perfection. And so here
Yeah.
we are. Let
Here
us
we
not
are.
lose this opportunity. My comrades, the delegates, let us not lose this opportunity to fix the People's National Congress reform. And behind this man, there will be a team, because I know whoever becomes chairman, vice chairman, I know that I am confident that the members will make the right choice. They will make the right decisions, and that with Doc at the head, he's going to work with that team. He's going to build that team. We're going to reunite. We're going to rebuild the People's National Congress reform, and then we're going to charge the forces against the haughty enemy, which is the
exactly.
PPPC.
Very well. I don't think any of us can put it better, Vanessa. Doc, if you want to add anything.
No, I think this is an important moment for the PNCR, and an important moment for the country, as more and more resources are coming. And it means that the country has to become more and more democratic.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
believe that if the political parties are more and more democratic, our country becomes more and more democratic. And it's for this reason I want to see the PNCR leading in terms of the democratic construction of our society,
Yeah.
where we all will have a better quality of life, equity, fairness, and justice for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. And you know, Doc, Vanessa, this country need a proper party or coalition to lead it. And I think we have demonstrated that. You talk about what Doc did at GWI. The folks are crying out. Just yesterday, we spoke about how the folks at Stanley Tongue reached out to us and talked to us about the water shortages there. Look, the farmers crying out, the fisher folks crying out. They want other
Yeah.
the 9 point how much billion is pocketory and confusion powder. This country needs you. This country needs
Yeah.
us. Yep.
Yes. And we
And
all
we
have
will
to
go
understand, Sherrod,
with
once
open
we all
arms.
understand the role we play, once we all understand, we all have a role, and we understand our role. Because like I
Yeah.
said it before, all of us can be the even the water boy on the basketball team, even the towel bearer is important. And so we
Yeah.
need to understand our role, and understand that we all have a role and a part to play in our country, this beautiful country, Guyana, that we call our home.
You know, Sharad, let me just make this point.
Go right ahead, Doc.
When you build, you're going to have different views. And what you must not have is, because there is difference, you become enemies. And that kills progress, that kills development.
Exactly.
So that's where I sit. And you can bet that I will walk that road all the time as I've walked before.
Fantastic. Dr. Richard Van Charles, candidate for leader of the PNCR. You don't have a slate, as you said, but a strong supporter in the one and only Vanessa Kissoon, iconic in her own right. Vanessa, thank you guys for coming in the ring this evening and to sharing the vision of Dr. Van Charles' campaign. Thank you, folks.
Thank
very,
you for
very
having
much.
us. It's always
Thank
a
you very
pleasure,
much for having us, Sheldon. Thank you to your listeners.
Awesome.
It's always good to be in the ring.
Awesome. Thanks, Doc.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
There we go, guys. The man himself, Dr. Richard Van Charles, and the one and only Miss Kissoon, Vanessa Kissoon there joining us. And we are so happy that you guys have stuck around. And as I said, you listened to what they say, especially those folks who are delegates, members of the PNCR, and you're going to have to make up your mind as to where you go. You have a couple of days out from the PNCR 21st Biannual Delegates Congress, which, if my mind serves me right, is coming up on December 11th. Guys, you hear all of the candidates. And to that end, again, we want to thank Doc and his team for joining us. Thanks again, Doc, Dr. Richard Van Charles, and thanks also to the one and only Vanessa Kissoon. Guys, that's our program this evening. We are going to stick around a little bit and give some folks a shout out tomorrow evening, guys. I hope you all share the live stream, I hope you all smash that emoji button there for us. But tomorrow evening, we're going to have another team that is vying for several posts there in the PNCR. We're going to have Mr. Aubrey Norton, who is vying for leader of the PNCR. We're going to have himself and a member or two of his team who are going to be joining us to talk about how the campaign is going at their end, elaborate some more for us on their vision and as to how their messaging is going and to how it's being received out there. So we're going to be talking to Mr. Aubrey Norton and his team tomorrow evening, same time, guys, same place. Same time, same place. Thank you guys for sticking around with a little bit overtime. Well, it's a lot overtime. George Campbell and Joan Stephanie still here with us. I see Robin Narine still here with us. Guys, what did you think of Dr. Charles and Vanessa? I see Richard Fordyce is still here. Jenny Wilson. Is it Bertle Nelson? Odwin is still here as well. Odwin Lake, that is. I see Janet Edwards is here still. Miriam Gaddafi is here as well. Some fancy name, guys. As you go, please share this live stream. We want folks, as many as possible, to get what we say is the fair, credible, and balanced information. We're not about propaganda here. We left that for the PPP. We left that to those jagabats on that side, guys. But as you go, ensure that you share the live stream. We're tremendously privileged to have all of you guys in the ring with us this evening. Thank you, guys, for sticking around. Share the live stream, and let us know how you're feeling out there this evening. We want to see those emojis. Janet Edwards is still here. Sharon Castello Edwards is here as well. Charlene Jordan is here too. Onika Brahma Paddy is here. Jennifer Bob, Deborah Halley, Littell Pax is here. Leslyn Alls. Fantastic, lovely folks. Laverne Lincott is here as well. Gavin Holder, Deborah Halley. A lot of people still up. Y'all drink, y'all purge, and catch y'all bed now, folks. That's our program for this evening. Progress Persaud is here as well. Loretta Roberts. I love calling folks' name. Deborah Halley still here. Gloria Plodd as well. Warnella Garnett is here too. Savannah Page. I love that name, Savannah. I always said if I have a daughter, I would name her Savannah. Paul DeAndrew is here. Sandra Davis is here as well. Jennifer Bob is still here with us. I see Tasha is here too. The name gone by so fast, the surname. But good night to you, Tasha. Unique Abby is here. Unique Abby. What makes you unique? Candy Naline Indradit is here too. And once you know Candy's here, Marky is not too far behind. Roger Norris. Good to see you, Roger. Roger is one of those persons who puts his money where his mouth is, guys, and is one of our very, very strong supporters. Good to see you, Roger, and all you other fantastic folks like Shawnette, Grant, and Paul DeAndrew, who's a good supporter of ours as well. Guys, thanks for being in the ring this evening. Ovita Blackman and Jermaine Osborne. GT Can Upset, is that the name? Karen McFoy, all you fantastic folks. That's our program this evening. See you guys tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Robbie Norton and team is going to be here with us, guys, as you go. Remember to social distance, wear your mask, sanitize, practice all the COVID-19 protocols in place for your health, your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. Thanks for joining us this evening. That's our time. Stay safe, guys.